Very good morning to all of you, my friends. I hope you guys are doing good. So, in the last session, we discussed material costing, wherein we discussed few points relating to the calculation of the cost of material plus to control the inventory. We discussed various techniques. Further, I told you guys to please solve all the questions in writing of the study material plus the past practice manual. So I hope you guys were able to solve the questions. Very good morning to everyone. Okay, there is a query in illustration number 8 and practical question number 5 of the material. One second, guys. 1 second. 1 second. So there is a query from Mr. Abdul. Sir, please explain illustration number 8 and practical question number 5 of material cost of study material. So Mr. Abdul, don't worry, I'll be covering this part, illustration number 8 and practical question number 5. Apart from this, I think most of the students were able to solve the question. So now we'll start with a fresh chapter today. Again, the another important element of the cost, that is overheads. Material I have already discussed. As far as labor is concerned, it is already discussed by one of the faculties of ICAI. So guys, let's start with the third element of the cost. Mr. Abdul, I'll be covering your query mostly after the next session. I'll be covering your query because we'll be left out with some time in overheads. So I'll try to cover your query after the next session. So guys, let's start with the next important element of the cost, that is overheads. From examination point of view, this chapter is very important. Examiner do ask question in every attempt on overheads. Sometimes the weightage is less, sometimes it's a lengthy question, but yes, examiner do ask question on overheads. Now guys, very good morning everyone. I understand Harshit, don't worry, I'll be covering this part separately. Yes, Jyoti, don't worry, I'll be covering this part separately. So now, let's start with overheads. Now, guys, what's the major object of costing? What's the major object of studying costing? First and the foremost thing, to calculate the total cost, and second thing, cost control. I repeat again, what is the major object of costing? Very simple, guys, to calculate the total cost plus cost control. When talking about total cost, the total cost can be classified in two parts. That is direct cost and indirect cost. I repeat again, guys, when talking about the total cost of a product, the cost can be classified in two parts, that is direct cost and indirect cost. When talking about direct cost, what is direct cost? The cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost. What is cost? Direct cost? The cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost. When talking about indirect cost, very good morning, Janesh. When talking about indirect cost, the cost that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product is indirect cost. What is indirect cost? The cost that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product is indirect cost. I repeat again, what is direct cost? The cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost, and the cost that plays a supporting role in manufacturing a product is indirect cost. Further, direct cost can be of three types. That is direct material, direct labor, and all the other direct expenses. Further, again, indirect cost can be also indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses. Now, guys, let me discuss in detail with the help of an example. Very good morning, Miss Manisha Bain. Very good morning, Kanchan. So now, guys, let me discuss this in detail with the help of few examples. That is, what is the difference between direct material and indirect material, direct labor and indirect labor, direct expenses, and all the other indirect expenses. So let's say I'm the manufacturer of, let's say, shirts. I'm the manufacturer of shirt. This shirt is made up of raw material. What is the major ingredient in this shirt? Very simple. This raw material, that is fabric. I repeat again, guys, I'm the manufacturer of shirt. This shirt is made up of fabric. So this fabric is what we call as direct material. Now this shirt is stitched in machines, and for the smooth functioning of machine, we do use some sort of lubricating oil and grease and other consumable. So is this lubricating oil or grease anywhere present in the final product? No. So we call this as indirect material. Another example, this example also I discussed in the previous session of material. Let's say I'm the manufacturer of cake. Now my major raw material is what? Bread, yeast, egg, or we can say cocoa powder and various flavors. So these are what we call as direct material. To maintain the hygiene standards, my chef uses chef cap, aprons, plus disposable gloves. So are these products anywhere present in the final product? No. So we call it as indirect material. So I hope the difference between direct and indirect material is clear to all. Now, when talking about direct labor and indirect labor, let's say I'm into business of manufacturing shirts, and I have a team of 100 tailors who are on daily basis, they are doing their job wherein they are stitching the shirts. So whatever the amount paid to them, whatever the amount paid to these tailors who are stitching the shirts is what we call as direct labor. Now let's say to supervise the work done by these 100 workers, I have kept 5 supervisors. इनके जो भी ये जो डायरेक्ट लेबर है, दैट इज द पर्सन हु आर एक्चुअली स्टिचिंग द शर्ट, उनको सुपरवाइज करने के लिए आई हैव केप्ट 5 सुपरवाइजर. नाउ these supervisors are kept to supervise the work that is done by the tailor. Now these supervisors are nowhere involved in manufacturing a product, but still we need these supervisors so that the production जो है हमारा efficiently और effectively चलता रहे. So whatever the amount that is paid to supervisor is what we call as indirect labor. So I repeat again, whatever the amount of wages we are paying directly to the labor who are stitching the shirt is direct labor. And when talking about the amount that is paid to supervisor who supervise the work done by the workforce, the amount paid to them is what we call as indirect labor. Apart from this, let's say I have kept a gatekeeper at the factory gate. Again, this gatekeeper is nowhere involved in manufacturing a product, but yes, we do need gatekeeper. So again, the amount paid to the gatekeeper is what we call as indirect labor. Let's say I have kept a housekeeping staff to maintain the cleanliness of the factory. Again, this housekeeping staff is nowhere involved in manufacturing a product, but yes, we do need the housekeeping staff. So the salary paid to the housekeeping staff is what we call as indirect labor. So I hope the difference between direct labor and indirect labor is clear to all. Now, when talking about direct expenses and indirect expenses, When talking about direct expenses, guys, let's say the cost of mold or dies. Let's say one more example wherein let's say I'm the manufacturer of car. Now the car is ये जो car है, it neither uses petrol, diesel or battery. It's a solar energy operated car, and I'm deriving technology support or assistance from a Korean based company. So whatever the amount paid to that Korean based company for know-how or technical assistance is what we call as direct expenses. So this is an example of direct expenses. When talking about indirect expenses, there is a long list. That is, we can say depreciation, insurance, rates and taxes, audit fees, salaries. So these all are the indirect expenses. So I hope this part is clear to all. That is, what is the difference between direct material and indirect material, direct labor and indirect labor, and direct expenses and indirect expenses. So now, when talking about this chapter, we'll be covering only this part. When talking about this chapter, we'll be covering only the indirect cost. And what is overhead? The indirect cost. Whatever the indirect cost that is incurred, whether it is indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses, we call it as overheads. So if you guys have any doubts till now, you guys can please post your query. I repeat again, we have started with the chapter named overhead. Again, it's a very important element of the cost. Whatever the cost that is incurred apart from material and labor, whatever the indirect cost that is incurred, we call it as overheads. So if you guys have any doubts, any queries, you guys can please post your queries. In the meanwhile, I suggest you guys to please copy this part. I hope my board is visible to all. The letters and all are visible to all. Please confirm, guys. I hope the letters and all are visible to all. Now, guys, so what is overhead? It's very simple, guys. The indirect cost. What is overhead? The indirect cost. That is indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. Now, further, these overheads are incurred at 3 stages in a company. These overheads are incurred at 3 stages in the company. That is at factory level, so we call it as factory overheads. The indirect costs that are incurred at the factory level, or the overheads which are incurred at the factory level, we call it as factory overheads. The indirect costs that are incurred at the office and administration level, we call it as office and administration overhead. And further, the indirect costs that are incurred at the selling and distribution stage, we call it as selling and distribution overheads. So guys, These overheads are incurred at three stages, can be incurred at three stages, that is factory level, office level, and selling and distribution level. Guys, do make a note of it that at factory level also it can be indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses. At office and administration level also it can be indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses. And at selling and distribution level also it can be indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. Now let me give you a few illustrative lists of what all is covered in factory overhead, office overhead, and selling and distribution overhead. We can say if indirect wages is given, then it is generally covered in factory overhead. Thereafter, depreciation on factory building or machinery. Apart from this, rent on factory building, wages paid to supervisor, and many more. When talking about office and administration overhead, it covers audit fee, printing and stationery, rates and taxes, one second guys, rates and taxes, salaries paid to the accountant or the office staff. When talking about selling and distribution overheads, we can say advertisement expenses. If free samples are distributed, again it is covered in advertisement expenditures only. Depreciation on delivery vehicle. Carriage outward if paid by our company. So this is all covered in selling and distribution overheads. So guys, in this chapter, we will discuss only about the indirect costs that are incurred in the company. So what is indirect cost? We call it as overheads. So if you guys have any doubts, you guys can please post your queries. In the meanwhile, I request you guys to please copy this part also. When talking about the examples of indirect material at all the three stages, when talking about the factory level, we call it as grease or any sort of glue that we are using. When talking about the indirect material at the office and administration level, it can be printing and stationery. And as far as selling and distribution, we can say gift vouchers or we can say free vouchers also. So this can be indirect material at selling and distribution level. Harshit Jaiswal, can you please repost your query? Admin sir, are you there? Hello, admin sir. Admin sir, are you there? So now guys, let's proceed further. So I hope you guys are thorough with what is overheads, that is the indirect cost that is incurred at 3 stages. That is factory overhead, office and administration overhead, and selling and distribution overhead. So now let's start with the remaining part of the chapter. Now guys, before starting with this chapter, let me give you a brief about what all we'll be covering in this chapter. Where in the first part we have already discussed, that is meaning of overheads. The first part we have already discussed, that is meaning of overhead. Thereafter we'll be discussing distribution and absorption of overheads. Thereafter, we'll be discussing meaning and treatment of under/over absorption of overhead. Meaning and treatment of under or over absorption of overhead. Thereafter, we'll be discussing few questions on calculation of machine hour rate. And few miscellaneous problems. So this is all we'll be covering in this chapter, of which first part is already over. That is what is the meaning of overhead. When talking about the meaning of overhead, whatever the indirect costs that are incurred, we call it as overheads. No worries, Mr. Alok, that's completely okay. Don't worry, Sri Lakshmi, I'll be discussing this part separately. So this is all what we will be covering in this chapter. I request you guys to please copy this part. Now guys, let's start with the next part of the chapter, that is distribution and absorption of overhead. When talking about distribution and absorption of overhead, there are various stages, there are various levels, or we can say there are various steps we need to follow. So when talking about the first step of distribution and absorption of overhead, the first step is estimation of overheads. The first step or the first level is estimation of overhead. Now, the overheads are estimated by the management. The overheads are estimated by the management. And from examination point of view or from practical question point of view, this information, that is whatever the overheads that are incurred, will be given in the question. So no need to do any sort of research on this part. This information will always be given in the question, that how much overheads are incurred and what all overheads are incurred. So the first part is estimation of overhead. Thereafter, the distribution part starts from allocation of overhead. After allocation, we do apportion the overhead. After apportionment, we do reapportion the overhead of the service department to the production department. So these three parts belongs to distribution. In distribution, what we'll be doing? Allocation or appointment, and after allocation or appointment, reapportionment of overhead. So this is covered in distribution, and the last part is absorption. So this is all what we'll be covering in the distribution and absorption of overhead. That is first and the foremost thing, estimation. Estimation of overheads, which is the data will always be given in the question. So no need to do any sort of exercise at this part. Thereafter, we'll be allocating the overhead. If allocation is not possible, then we'll apportion the overhead. And after apportionment, we'll be reapportioning the overheads of the service department to the production department. Why all this exercise? We'll be discussing in detail. And thereafter, last part is absorption we'll be discussing. So I request you guys to please copy this part. Thereafter, we'll start with the distribution part first and then the absorption part. Now, guys, let's proceed further with the distribution of overheads. Now, let me discuss this concept with the help of an example. Let's say, guys, I'm a manufacturer and I do manufacture two types of product. That is mobile phone and laptop. Now I have to calculate the cost of mobile phone and laptop. So what I will do is very simple, guys. We'll first figure out that how much material is consumed for manufacturing mobile and how much material is consumed for manufacturing laptop. Thereafter, we'll figure out how much labor cost I'm paying to the engineers who are manufacturing mobile phones and laptop. Apart from this, what I will do, I'll see the list of what all direct expenses I'm incurring separately for manufacturing mobiles and laptops. Now, guys, very important point. We can easily identify these three costs separately. That is, these three costs are incurred separately for manufacturing mobile phones and separately for manufacturing laptop. हमें ये पता रहता है कि मोबाइल बनाने में क्या रॉ मटेरियल यूज होने वाला है, लैपटॉप बनाने में क्या रॉ मटेरियल यूज होने वाला है. As far as labor also is concerned, there is a separate team who are involved in manufacturing mobile phone and there is a separate team of engineers who are manufacturing the laptops. Now, when talking about direct expenses, again, these expenses are incurred separately for each product. So, these three costs, that is direct material cost, labor cost and direct expenses, we can easily identify कि ये खर्चा किसके लिए हुआ है, ये खर्चा किसके लिए हुआ है. Now, my point, guys, is this the total cost? No, this is not the total cost. Is this the total cost? No, this is not the total cost. Apart from this, apart from these three costs, there are certain costs जो कि separately incur नहीं होती है एक product के लिए. They are incurred as a whole. Apart from these three costs, there are many other costs that need to be charged to these two products to calculate the total cost. What all costs that are incurred as a whole, we call it as overhead. Let's say, what about rent? What about salaries? What about audit fees? What about depreciation? These costs are incurred as a whole. And to calculate the total cost of the product, we need to charge this cost to these two products to calculate the total cost. Now the point is how? Very simple, guys. The cost that is incurred as a whole will be distributed among these two production departments. And after being distributed, we will charge the cost that is distributed to a particular product to calculate the cost of the product. So my point is why distribution is required. First and the foremost thing, we have to calculate the total cost, but there are we have to calculate the total cost of the various products, but there are certain costs which are incurred separately that we can easily identify. But what about the costs that are incurred as a whole? So when talking about the costs that are incurred as a whole, we need to distribute this cost among these two production departments to calculate the total cost of the product. Guys, do make a note of that ये total cost नहीं है, इसके अंदर और बहुत सारी cost add होगी. That is what we call as overhead. So that is the need of distribution of overheads. So now, when talking about distribution, what is the need of distribution? I have already explained. Now, how to distribute the overheads, we'll be discussing this part now. Electricity also, Mr. Abdul. Now, what is the need of distribution? Very simple, guys, because we have to calculate the total cost and there are certain costs that are incurred as a whole. So we need to distribute the cost among the various production department to calculate the total cost. अगर हम लोग एक ही product बनाते हैं, तो there is no need of distribution. But let's say I'm into manufacturing 3 to 4 products and there are various departments for the same. Then we have to distribute the costs that are incurred as a whole, or we have to distribute the overheads among these production departments to calculate the actual total cost of the product. So what is the need of distribution? I hope you guys are clear with. Now the point is how to distribute the overhead. Is there any way of distributing the overheads? Yes, either allocation or apportionment. So when talking about distribution, guys, it can be either allocation or it can be either apportionment. It can be either allocation of overhead or it can be either apportionment of overhead. Now, what is the difference between allocation and apportionment? Let me discuss this part with the help of an example. Now, what is the difference between allocation? What is the difference between allocation and apportionment? Let me discuss this with the help of an example. Where in the same example, that is, I do manufacture mobile phones and laptops. Now, management has provided us the data that following are the expenditures that are incurred apart from direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. We call it as overheads. So let's write overheads that are incurred. Let's say we are paying supervisor salary. That is, 5 supervisors are appointed. We are paying 10,000 each. So total 50,000 we are paying as supervisor salary. I repeat again, guys, how to distribute the overheads among various production departments we will be discussing now, wherein the distribution can be done via allocation or apportionment. So now, how to distribute, we are discussing with the help of an example. Let's say the costs that are incurred as a whole, we call it as overheads, wherein the first cost is supervisor salary, wherein total 5 supervisors are appointed and each supervisor is paid at the rate 10,000 rupees. So the total supervisor salary paid is, let's say, 50,000. Further, we are paying rent of rupees 1 lakh. Apart from this, we are paying electricity bill also, which is 60,000. Now, these 3 costs are not incurred separately for each production department. That is, we cannot identify it. Now, the point is how to distribute. Now let's say when talking about supervisor salary, some information is given in the question that there are total 5 supervisors, wherein through 3 supervisors are supervising the work of the 3 supervisors are appointed to supervise the work done by the mobile engineers. That is, question clearly information दे रहा है कि whatever the workers, whosoever the workers who are working in the mobile department, उनको supervise करने के लिए total 3 supervisors are appointed, and the remaining 2 supervisors are appointed to supervise the work done in the laptop department. Herein the costs are incurred separately. So we can easily distribute कि भाई 3 supervisors are appointed for the mobile division and 2 supervisors are appointed for the laptop division. So we can easily distribute this cost. That is, since 3 supervisors are appointed for mobile division, so 3 into 10,000, that is 30,000, and 2 into 10,000, that is 20,000. I repeat again, guys, in this question, information is given that 3 supervisors are appointed for the mobile division and 2 supervisors are appointed for the laptop division. So herein we can distribute this amount directly, that is 30,000 to the mobile division and 20,000 to the laptop division. As far as rent is concerned, again some information is given in the question. Let's say we have taken 2 premises on hire, premise first and premise second. The rent of premise first is, let's say, 60,000 and the rent of premise 2 is, let's say, 40,000. Again, I repeat, when talking about rent, some information is given in the question that we have taken 2 premises on rent, wherein the rent of the premise first is 60,000 and premise second is 40,000. Further, it is clearly given in the question, let's say the premise 1 is exclusively used for the mobile division and the premise 2 is exclusively used for the laptop division. In this case also, we can distribute this cost of rent directly. So herein, we can say that the information is provided in the question कि भाई किस premise, sorry, कौन सा premise किसके लिए use हो रहा है और कौन सा premise किसके लिए use हो रहा है. So in that case also, we can distribute the overheads directly. So out of this 1 lakh, 60,000 rents belongs to the mobile division and 40,000 rent belongs to the laptop division. Now, when talking about electricity also, there are separate meters installed in the premise. The separate meters are installed in the premise, and let's say the electricity bill of premise 1 is 45,000 and let's say for premise 2 it is 15,000. Again, this information is given in the question. So very simple, guys, we can directly distribute it. That premise 1 जो कि mobile division के लिए use हो रहा है, उसका electricity bill कितना है? 45,000. And the premise 2 that is used exclusively for the laptop division, उसका electricity bill कितना है? 15,000. So herein, in all these 3 cases, the overheads are separately incurred for the various production department. The overheads are separately incurred for the each production department. So we were able to distribute these overheads directly. So wherein, if the overheads are separately incurred for each department and can be distributed directly, it is called as allocation of overhead. So what is allocation, guys? When the overheads are separately incurred for various departments and can be distributed directly. This is called as allocation. So these 3 cases what we have discussed, that is supervisors, electricity bill and rent, herein it is clearly given in the question that इसके overhead separate हुए हैं, इसके overhead separate हुए हैं. So we have distributed these overheads directly. So this process is known as allocation of overhead. So I hope you guys are clear that what is allocation. When the overheads are incurred separately for each production department and can be distributed directly, this is called as allocation of overhead. Now, very important, guys, what if in case they are not incurred separately? There are no 2 premises we have taken or higher. There is only 1 premise and we are using this one premise for mobile division also and laptop division also. Now take one more situation. There is only 1 meter installed in the factory and the entire factory is used for manufacturing mobile phone as well as laptop. Further, as far as supervisors are concerned, we have appointed 5 supervisors and they are supervising the work done by the mobile department also and laptop department also. Now, in that case, what we will do? Very simple, guys. If the overheads cannot be distributed directly, then we have to apportion the overhead. I repeat again, guys, if information is given in the question that the overheads can be distributed directly, अगर क्वेश्चन में इंफॉर्मेशन दी गई है कि ओवरहेड्स डायरेक्टली डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं तो वी विल सिंपली अलोकेट द ओवरहेड. बट अगर ओवरहेड्स डायरेक्टली डिस्ट्रीब्यूट नहीं कर सकते, नो इंफॉर्मेशन इज गिवन इन द क्वेश्चन एज रिगार्ड्स दैट द ओवरहेड्स कैन बी डायरेक्टली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड, देन व्हाट वी हैव टू डू, वी हैव टू अपॉर्शन द ओवरहेड. So, अगर allocate नहीं कर सकते overhead, then what we have to do? We have to apportion the overheads. So, if you guys have any doubts that what is the difference between allocation and apportionment, you guys can ask me. Now, let me discuss this concept of apportionment also with the help of an example. The same example wherein total there are 5 supervisors and the amount paid to them is 50,000. The supervisor do supervise the mobile department also and laptop department also. There are no dedicated supervisors separately for each department. कोई भी supervisor किसी को भी supervise कर सकता है. As far as rent is concerned, we are paying a rent of rupees 1 lakh and there is only one premise what we are using to manufacture mobile phone as well as laptop. And further, when talking about the electricity or power, again, only 1 meter is installed. So now the point is how to distribute the overhead. How to distribute the overheads. Overheads distribute kaise kare? Because they are not incurred directly or they are not incurred separately for each department. So the question is how to distribute the overhead. So herein the apportionment comes into picture. Now for apportionment, some information will be given in the question. I repeat again, for apportionment of overhead, some information will always be given in the question. Let's say in this question, some more information is given. Let's say area in square feet is given. Let's say area in square feet is given. $550 and $450. Further, light points are also given. 20 and 20. Further, number of workers are also given. Let's say 300 and 200. So this information is given in the question. Further, no information is given in the question as regards ki separately incur hua. So my point is, if the overheads are not incurred separately for each department, we have to apportion the overhead. And when talking about apportionment, some information is needed in the question. Now the point is how to do apportionment. So guys, when talking about apportionment, we have to identify the basis of apportionment. क्या करना पड़ेगा? For apportionment of overhead, we have to identify कि किस basis पे करें. So wherein when talking about apportionment, the first point is what we have to identify the basis of सबसे पहले आपको क्या करना है कि भाई overheads are not incurred separately, so we can't allocate. Now what to do? We have to apportion the overhead. So how to apportion the overhead? We have to first identify the basis कि किस basis पे apportion करें. So guys, in this question, let's start with supervisor salary, wherein we are paying 50,000 salary to the supervisor. Now the point is, the information that is given in the question is relating to area. Now the first point, क्या supervisor का area से कोई लेना देना है? No, not at all. Supervisor क्या करता है? Workers को supervise करता है. So herein, the information that is important for distribution of supervisor salary is what? Number of workers. Again, light point has nothing to do with supervisor. Area has nothing to do with supervisor salary. Supervisor करता क्या है? They do supervise the workforce. So herein, when talking about supervisor salary, the number of workers is important. So what should be the basis of distribution of supervisor salary? Very simple, guys. Number of workers. So herein now we have identified the base that supervisor salary will be apportioned on the basis of number of workers. Supervisor salary जो है, हम लोगों को number of workers के basis पे apportion करना है. So herein it is given in the question that there are total 300 workers working in the mobile division and 200 workers working in the laptop division. So we can say the ratio is what? 3:2. So this 50,000 will be distributed in the ratio of 3:2. That is the number of workers. So we can say 30,000 and 20,000 will be the amount as distributed. Moving towards the next part, that is rent. Again, now, when talking about rent, very important, guys, the rent is paid for the area. The rent is paid for the premise, the area. So, the basis of distribution of rent should be what? Area. Again, light point has nothing to do with the rent part. Further, the number of workers has nothing to do with the rent part. Rent is dependent upon what? Area. So, when talking about the basis of apportionment of rent, it should be always area. And once the basis of apportionment is identified, then in that ratio, we will distribute the rent. So herein the ratio is what? 55:45. 550 is to 450 or 55 is to 45. It's the same. So 55,000 and 45,000. Further, as far as electricity is concerned, again, the major basis of apportionment should be the light points. And herein the light points are given specifically. That is, there are 20 light points in mobile division and 20 light points in the laptop division. That is 1:1. So electricity should be distributed in the ratio of light points. That is 20:20 or 1:1. So we can say 30,000 and so guys, I hope you guys are thorough with what is apportionment and allocation. If you guys have any query, you guys can ask me. In the meanwhile, I request you guys to please copy this explanation plus write your notes. Write your notes that what all you have understood from this explanation. This explanation will be helpful while preparing for the exams. So waiting for your queries. Plus, I request you guys to please copy this example. So conclusive line, when the overheads are incurred separately for each department and can be distributed directly, it is allocation. But if allocation is not possible, अगर हम लोग allocate नहीं कर सकते, then we will proceed for apportionment. How to apportion the overhead? Very simple, guys. We have to identify the basis की क्या basis पे apportion करना है, and then on whatever the ratio that is given, we will distribute it in that proportion. Waiting for your queries, guys. In the meanwhile, I request you guys to please copy this part. Preeti, Jyoti, Alok, any doubts? Mr. Abdul, Mr. Aslam, Dhyanesh, Sri Lakshmi, any doubts? Shruti, any doubts? Jyoti, Manisha Ben, Jash Shah, how are you? Very good morning, Mr. Jash. Any doubts? Waiting for your queries, guys. Yes, well said, Priyanka. When the expenses can be incurred separately, when the expenses are incurred separately for each department, we can distribute them directly. That is what we call as allocation. And if the overheads cannot be allocated, then they need to be apportioned. So for apportionment, what we have to do, we have to identify first the basis of apportionment, and then only we will apportion the overheads. Mr. Aslam, I'll be discussing this part separately. Right now, I'm discussing overheads. So better please pay attention to what I'm discussing. Mr. Abdul, any doubts? Yes, Priyanka, when talking about apportionment, if the expenses are not incurred separately, we have to identify that on what basis these can be distributed. So we have to identify the base first, and then only we can apportion. Yes, Sri Lakshmi, more or less, it is fixed. I'll be giving you a few examples for the same also. That was I was about to say, Mr. Ramnivas, but I don't want to interrupt. So you just need to refresh your page. That is more than sufficient. Yes, well said, Sunil Kumar. Overheads can be fixed also, variable also. I'll be covering this part in standard costing and marginal costing. But yes, overheads can be fixed also and variable also. Now, guys, let me give you a few examples on what all should be the basis for distribution of overhead. So when talking about rent, rent should be distributed on the basis of area. Rent should be distributed on the basis of area. There is no other basis of distribution of rent. If the area is given, better distribute the rent in the ratio of area. When talking about electricity, it should be distributed in the base on the basis of light points. However, if light points are not given, then it can be distributed on the basis of area. So if light points are given separately, then to it's fine, else area. When talking about if indirect labor is given, indirect wages is given, it should always be distributed on the basis of direct wages. If indirect wages is given, it should always be distributed on the basis of direct wages. Further, let's say if depreciation is given. Now, depreciation is charged on what? Fixed assets or machinery. So herein, if the depreciation is given, it should always be distributed on the basis of value of machine. Further, repair and maintenance. If the information is given in the question as regards repairs and maintenance, now the point is repairs and maintenance किस पे होता है? Very simple, machines के basis पे. Repairs and maintenance sorry किस पे होता है? Machines पे होता है. ज्यादा मशीन चलेगी, ज्यादा repairs and maintenance लगेगा. कम मशीन चलेगी, कम repair and maintenance लगेगा. So repair and maintenance is more or less relating to the hours the machine works. So we can say repairs and maintenance can be distributed in the basis of machine hours. Apart from this, we can say if power cost is given, we can distribute in the ratio of horsepower. When talking about the expenditures of store department, we can distribute it in the basis of number of requisition. When talking about the expenditures of stores department, we can distribute on the basis of number of requisition. So this is an illustrative list. Depending upon the information given in the question, we have to identify the base and then only we can apportion the overheads. So if you guys have any queries on this part, you guys can please post your query. Yes, Nadeem Nathani well said that we, depending upon the information given in the question, we have to identify the basis of apportionment. Nadeem, further information will be given in the question that these overheads need to be distributed directly. And if we can't distribute directly, then again, we have to identify the base and on that base only we can apportion the overhead. So I hope you guys are thorough with the concept of distribution. What is distribution? It can be either allocation or apportionment. So the first stage of distribution is over. Now let me discuss this concept more with the help of a full-fledged example. So guys, let's take an example. Just a minute, guys. Edwin sir, are you there? Edwin sir, are you there? Hello, Edwin sir, are you there? I think Mr. Edwin is not there. I need to share the screen. Just a second, guys. I hope the question is visible to all. I have shared a screen. I have shared the question over the screen. I hope the question is visible to all, guys. Yes, it's not the complete list. It's an illustrative list. The complete list is given in the study material. So for better understanding, I have discussed a few examples. I hope the question is visible to all. I request you guys to please take the screenshot of the question. I request you guys to please take the screenshot of the question. Edwin sir, are you there? Edwin sir? I hope the question is visible to all. I request you guys to please take the screenshot of the question. So I request you guys to solve this question on your own and please post your answers. I repeat again, guys, I request you guys to please solve this question and please post your answer, and thereafter only I'll solve the question. So I request you guys कि आपको कितना समझ में आया है, please try and solve this question. Waiting for your answers, guys. I'm giving you 10 minutes time, guys. Please try to solve the question on your own. Then I'll discuss the question over the board. Please post your answer that how much overheads belong to a particular production department. That is P1, P2, P3 and S1 and S2. So waiting for your final answers. Giving you 10 minutes time. The format of the solution will be expenses, or we can say particulars. Basis of absorption. What should be the basis of absorption? The total amount. Thereafter, the overheads that are distributed to the three production departments, that is P1, P2, P3 and S1 and S2. So P1, P2, P3, S1 and S2. Giving you 10 minutes time, guys. So I request you guys to please solve this question. Admin sir, are you there? Very good, Uday. I'll be checking your answer. Don't worry. I'm waiting for the final answers, guys. Very good, Manisha Bain. I request you guys to please try to solve the question. Then only you can judge कि आप कहाँ exist करते हैं. So try to solve the question in the session itself. Still, I have not got any of the answers. The final answers, guys. Waiting for the final answer. Yes, Jyoti. Yes, Preeti. Mr. Alok. Mr. Abdul. I've got answer from Mr. Abdul. Very good, Abdul. I need to check the final answer. Please do post the total also. Very good, Mr. Aslam. Sushil, waiting for your answer. Mr. Rama, Nadeem, Harsh, Alok, Jash, Dhyanesh. Now, guys, I'm discussing this question. In the meanwhile, I request you guys to please keep on solving the question. So, machine working hours not given. Okay, waiting for you guys. No problem. Please try to solve, giving you 2 more minutes time. Yes, it is easy. Now, guys, in this question, the overheads cannot be distributed directly. So what we have to do is we have to apportion the overhead. No information is given in the question कि भाई इस department के लिए इतना overheads incur हुआ, इस department के लिए इतना overheads incurred किया. So it means what we cannot allocate the overheads. So what we have to do, we have to apportion the overheads. And when talking about apportionment, we have to first identify the base of apportionment. What we have to do, we have to identify first and the foremost thing, the basis of apportionment. So let's start, guys. When talking about rent, herein in this question, information is given as regards area. So we will distribute rent on the basis of area. Now, when talking about repairs, no information is given in the question as regards the machine hours or working hours. Then what we will assume, the most suitable basis of absorption should be what? Very simple, the repairs are carried out on machine. So better we will apportion repairs on the basis of value of plant or value of machine. Because the machine hours are not given. So whatever the information given in the question, we have to use and we have to apportion the overheads accordingly. So when talking about repairs, since machine hours are not given, so we will assume that repairs are carried. So we will assuming that the repairs are carried out on plant. So better the repair should be apportioned on the basis of value of plant. Further, depreciation should always be apportioned on the basis of value of plant. When talking about lighting, if the light points are given, perfect. If not, then area is the best. Then the area is the best alternative of the light points. So herein the light points are not given. So better distribute lighting on the basis of area in square feet. So the lighting will be distributed on the basis of area. Next point is supervision. Again, the information is given in the question as regards number of workers. So the supervision cost will be apportioned on the basis of number of workers. When talking about fire insurance of stock, the stock value is clearly given in the question. Fire insurance value, fire insurance of stock, and stock value is given in the question. So it means what? The fire insurance on stock will be apportioned on the basis of stock value. Apart from this, PF and ESI contribution, it is more or less related to wages that is paid to the employees. So ESI contribution shall be distributed on the basis of wages. As far as power is concerned, in this question, information is given as regards horsepower. So we can easily distribute power cost on the basis of horsepower. If you guys have any queries as far as the identification of base is concerned, you guys can ask me. I have got answer from Jyoti, sorry, Mr. Aslam, Alok, Jyoti, Jash, Sri Lakshmi, very good, Dhyanesh, Manisha Ben. Now, Kanchan also was able to solve. Miss Gopika, very good, Gopika. I appreciate your efforts. Priyanka, very good. Same basis of apportion I had taken. Very good, Alok. I hope your basis of apportionment was correct. That is for rent, it is the area. For repairs, no information is given as regards the number of machine hours. So better apportion the repairs on the basis of value of plant. Or koi basis suitable hai hi nahi. So we have to find the best possible basis. So here no information is given as regards hours. So better distribute the repairs on the basis of value of plant. Apart from this, depreciation will always be apportioned on the basis of value of plant. When talking about lighting, again, if the light points are given, the first priority should be given to the light points. But if light points are not given, then better distribute the lighting on the basis of area. Supervision, we have to supervise the workers. So better supervision cost should always be apportioned on the basis of number of workers. The fire insurance of stock, the name itself says fire insurance kiska stock ka. Or fire insurance hota kis pe? Stock ki value pe. So stock value. ESI contribution depends upon wages. And thereafter, power is horsepower. I have got answer from Shivani also. Very good, Shivani. I need to check your answers. Priyanka also. Now guys, let's distribute the cost. So herein rent is 12,000 and the area in square feet is given. That is 200, 150, 135, 75 and 40. So 200 plus 150 plus 135 plus 75 and plus 40, 600. So rent will be distributed in the ratio of area. So 200 into 20. For P1 it will be 4,000. So this is how the rent will be distributed. That is in the ratio of 200 is to 150 is to 135 is to 75 is to 40. When talking about the repairs, that is the value of plant. The value of plant is given in the question, that is 72,000, 54,000 and 48,000 and 6,000. So 72 plus 54 plus 40 plus 6. So again, this will be 1440. This will be 1080. This will be 960. And this will be 120. So guys, I hope you guys are thorough with this part, that how to distribute the overheads. You guys can calculate, and please calculate the total amount of overheads. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can ask me. This much is all what about this question. I hope once you identify the base, you can easily solve this question. Now, how to distribute in ratio, you guys can distribute it. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can ask me. The major point in this question is that you have to identify the basis of distribution. I have got answer from Shivani, Priyanka, Kanchan, Piyush Chaurasia, everyone, and more or less everybody's answer is same. That is, the total of P1 is 13,820. The total of P2 is 10,380. P3 is 8,390. And S1 is 3,870 and S2 is 2,140. This is the answer what I have got from most of the students. Further, I have got some different answers also from Alok, Jyoti, Jash and all. So guys, I request you to please check your answers. The major thing, the major point is what, that you have to identify the basis of apportionment. So once the base is identified, you can easily distribute it. Here in the third part also I am discussing, let's say depreciation is given, that is 2,700. Again, it is distributed on the basis of value of plant. So the value of depreciation will be 1080. This will be 810. This will be 720. and this will be 90. So guys, once the basis of apportionment is identified, you can easily distribute the overheads. So if you guys have any, yes, Jyotija, I have got your answer. 13,900. I request you guys to please check your answer. I'm not sure whose answer is correct. But the major point is that is you have to identify the base. That is the key for the correct solution. So if you are able to identify this part correctly, that is if you are able to identify the base correctly, you can easily solve this question. So the major point to copy is what this part, that is what should be the basis of apportionment. If you guys have any query, please post your query. As far as apportionment and allocation is concerned, this part is over. Now we'll proceed with the next part, that is reapportionment of overhead. So if you guys have any doubts till now, you guys can please post your queries. Very good, Alok. So guys, this is all what about allocation and apportionment. Now let's take a break of 10 minutes and thereafter we'll start with the reapportionment part and the remaining part of the chapter. So better let's take a break of 10 minutes. So admin sir, are you there? I think Mr. Admin, the admin person is not there. So better let's take a break of 10 minutes. We'll be back by 8:40, 8:42. Welcome back, guys, after the break, much needed break. So we are done with the first phase of distribution, wherein we have distributed the overheads among the various production department or service department. In this question also, we have distributed the overheads to the 3 production department plus the 2 service department. So distribution can be done via allocation or apportionment. Now, guys, let's proceed further. Let's proceed further with the next phase of distribution. We call it as reapportionment or redistribution of overheads. So, guys, let's start with the next part, that is reapportionment of overhead. Now, before starting with how to reapportion the overhead, very good Sushil Kumar, very good Sunil Kumar, very good Alok. Yes, Jyoti, your answers are reaching to me. Now, guys, let's start with reapportionment. But before starting with reapportionment, why reapportionment? Reapportionment ki zarurat kya hai? So let's say I have 3 production department, P1, P2 and P3. And I have 2 service department, S1 and S2. Let's say we are done with the allocation or apportionment of overhead, and the overheads are distributed to these 3 production department and 2 service department. I repeat again, हमारा allocation और apportionment complete हो गया है, and the overheads are distributed to these 3 production department and 2 service department. Now, guys, whatever the overheads that are distributed to the production department, we can easily charge to the cost of product. Why? Because production department में actually units manufacture होते हैं. So whatever the overheads that are allocated or apportioned to the production department can be easily charged to calculate the cost of the product. My point is why? Because production department में actually units manufacture होते हैं. But now my point is, what about the overheads of the service department? Service department में तो कोई units manufacture ही नहीं होते. So what about the overheads of the service department? How to charge the overheads of the service department to a particular product to calculate the cost of product? I repeat again, how to charge the overhead as apportioned or as allocated of service department to a particular product to calculate the cost. So the answer to this question is reapportionment. So what we have to do is, since no units are manufactured in the service department, these service department are meant to provide services to the production department. So whatever the overheads that are distributed to these service department will be reapportioned to the production department. Whatever the overheads that are distributed, that is allocated or apportioned to the service department will be reapportioned to the production department. Why? Because service department are not meant for any sort of production. Service department में कोई production नहीं होता है. They are meant to provide services only to the production department. Let me discuss this concept practically with the help of an example. Let's say I have 3 production department, P1, P2, P3. And I have a service department in the name of human resources. HR department, I have a service department and it is an HR department. Now, what HR department do? HR department is nowhere directly involved in manufacturing a product. कोई units manufacture नहीं होते HR department. HR department recruit people and these people are working in production department. So let's say on a particular day, in production department P2, 12 people resigned. They served me a notice कि भाई we will be working here in this company only for a period of 1 month. Now here in the role of HR department comes into picture. What HR department will do? They will immediately recruit these 12 people and will place it to the production department. Another example, let's say I have one more service department, housekeeping department. Again, housekeeping department में कोई units manufacture नहीं होते. They are meant to provide services to the production department or service department. So why housekeeping department is necessary? They do provide services to the production department. They do maintain the cleanliness of the factory or office. Further, let's say I have one more service department, let's say maintenance department. Again, there are no units manufactured in the maintenance department. There are no units manufactured in the maintenance department. Maintenance department का काम क्या होता है कि if in a particular case there is a breakdown, अगर कहीं कोई डिपार्टमेंट में ब्रेकडाउन हुआ है मशीन का, so herein the maintenance department play an important role. They will locate the problem, will try to fix it up at the earliest. So my point is very simple. These service department are necessary for every company. But since no units are manufactured in these service department, so the point is how to charge the overheads of the service department. So in that case, what service department do? They do provide services to the production department. So what we will do is, we will reapportion the overheads of service department to these three production departments. So this is the concept of reapportionment. If you guys have any doubts in the concept of reapportionment, you guys can ask me, else we'll proceed further with reapportionment of overhead. I hope you guys are clear with the concept of reapportionment. I repeat again, the overheads of service department will be reapportioned to the production department because there are no units that are manufactured in the service department. They are simply providing services only to the production department. So better reapportion the overheads of the service department to the production department. Waiting for your queries, guys. Any doubt, Jyoti, Priyanka, Sri Lakshmi, Jash, Dhyanesh, any doubts? Kanchan? Now, guys, when talking about reapportionment, two situations are possible. When talking about reapportionment, two situations are possible. No, just Shah, because since some activities are going on in the service department, so we have to allocate or apportion the overheads to the service department first. And depending upon the services they are providing to various production department, the overhead will be reapportioned to the production department. Now, when talking about reapportionment, guys, two situations are possible. The first situation is that service department provides services only to the production department. That is, मेरा S1 अगर service department है, तो वो सिर्फ production department को ही service provide कर रहा है. So reapportionment when the first situation, that is the service, when service department provide services only to the production department. सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट्स दूसरे सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट को सर्विस प्रोवाइड नहीं करता. दे प्रोवाइड ओनली सर्विसेज ओनली टू द प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट. सो हियर इन हाउ टू रीअपॉर्शन द ओवरहेड? वेरी सिंपल. डायरेक्ट we'll use direct redistribution method. Yes, Uday, once the overheads are allocated or apportioned to the various production department or service department, thereafter the next step starts, wherein whatever the overheads that are allocated or apportioned to the service department will be reapportioned to the production department. Why? Because units are manufactured only in the production department. Yes, Dhyanesh, well said. So direct redistribution method. So when the first situation is when service department provides services only to the production department. Now let's take the second situation wherein when service department provide services to production department as well as other service departments. It means what? Service department जो है production department को भी service provide कर रहा है. Apart from this, they are providing services to the other service department also. Let's say housekeeping department. Housekeeping is maintaining the cleanliness of the production department also, and also it is maintaining the cleanliness of the canteen and the HR department. So let's say if there are three service department, the canteen, second HR department, and third is housekeeping department. So herein housekeeping department is providing services to the production department also, plus the other two service department also, that is the canteen or cafeteria and the HR department. So what if in this case? So in this case again, two more situations are possible wherein the first one is if it is a reciprocal case and non-reciprocal. I repeat again, guys, when service department provides services to the production department as well as service department, in this case also, two situations are possible, that is reciprocal and non-reciprocal. When talking about reciprocal, what is reciprocal? Let's say I have three production department, A, B, and C. I have three production department, A, B, and C, and two service department, X and Y. Now, X is providing services to the three production department A, B, and C, and Y also. And Y is providing services to the three production department, that is A, B, and C, and X also. It means what? X is providing services to the Y, and Y, the service department, is providing services to the X. So if the service department provides services to each other, that is called as the reciprocal approach. I repeat again, अगर दो service department है और दोनों एक दूसरे को service provide करते हैं, apart from providing services to the production department, we call it as reciprocal. When in this case, the overheads can be distributed in three possible ways. In this case, the overheads can be redistributed in three ways. That is, first way is simultaneous equation method. Second is repetitive distribution method. And the third one is trial and error method. So if the service department provides services to each other, that is X is providing services to Y, Y is providing services to X. So in that case, the overhead can be distributed in three ways. That is either distributed by using simultaneous equation method, or distribute the overheads using repetitive distribution method, and the third point is trial and error method. In all these three ways, ये तो तीनों तरीके हैं. In all these cases, the answer will be the same. Whether you use simultaneous equation method or repetitive distribution method or trial and error method, the answer will be same in all the three in all the three methods. So this is all what about reciprocal method. The next part is non-reciprocal method. Non-reciprocal method क्या बोलता है? Let's say I have three production department A, B, and C, and two service department X and Y. Now X is providing services to A, B, C, and Y. X is providing services to A, B, C, and Y. Now when coming to Y, Y is providing services only to A, B, and C, not to X. I repeat again, When talking about non-reciprocal method, it means what? Service department, सारे service department एक दूसरे को service नहीं provide करते हैं. X is providing services to Y, but Y is not providing services to X. It is providing services only to the production department. We call it as non-reciprocal method. And in this non-reciprocal method, we use step ladder method to reapportion the overhead. What is a step ladder method? What is simultaneous equation method, and other methods I will be discussing in detail with the help of the practical questions also. So in short, when talking about reapportionment, these are the methods what we have to discuss. That is first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So there are total five methods for reapportion which will apply in different situations. So if you guys have any doubts, you guys can please ask me. In the meanwhile, I suggest you guys to please copy this explanation. If the service department provides services to each other, that is X is providing to Y, Y is providing to X, that is reciprocal method. When talking about non-reciprocal method, a particular service department provides services to all the department, that is production department and service department. But the other service department are not providing services back to the service department. They are providing services to the production department only. That is non-reciprocal method. Reciprocal method, Mr. Parth Sarthi. See, there are two service departments, let's say X and Y. X is providing services to Y, Y is providing services to X. That is reciprocal method. But in non-reciprocal method, let's say X and Y, X is providing services to Y and Y is not providing services to X. It is providing services only to the production department. So this is the case of non-reciprocal, and this is the case of reciprocal. Harshu, I'll miss Harshu. I repeat again. Let's say there are three production departments. Let's say A, B, and C, and two service department X and Y. X is providing services to A, B, and C. X is providing services to A, B, and C and Y. X is providing services to A, B, C, and Y. But in return, Y is providing services only to the production department. This Y is providing services only to the production department, not to X. That is what we call as non-reciprocal method. I hope, Harshu, your doubt is resolved. So we'll be discussing these methods one by one. If you guys have any queries till now, you guys can ask me. Waiting for your queries. Reciprocal, service to each other. Non-reciprocal, not servicing each other. Yes, well said, Sunil Kumar. I request you guys to please copy this part. Great. Now, guys, let's proceed further with the first method, that is direct redistribution method. So guys, I'll be discussing few illustrations from the study material also. So guys, let's start with direct redistribution method. I'm discussing illustration number 1. I'm discussing illustration number 1, guys. So I request you guys to please open your study material. I'm starting with the first illustration of chapter overhead. The page number is 4.17, illustration number 1. So Excel Limited has 3 production departments. We are discussing the first method, that is direct redistribution method. Direct redistribution method, wherein we are discussing the first illustration, that is Excel Limited has 3 production department and 4 service department. कितने production department है? Three production department, that is production department A, production department B and C. Further, they have 4 service department, and the details of the overheads after allocation and apportionment is given. Now in this question, allocation part is over, apportionment part is over. That is the overheads that are given, that is 30 lakh, 26 lakh, 24 lakh, plus 4 lakh, 3 lakh, 160 and 1 lakh. These overheads are already after apportionment or reapportionment. ये overheads जो है कहाँ से आए? After the process of apportionment and reapportionment. Now we have to redistribute the overheads of the service department to the production department on suitable basis. So now herein in this case, the service departments, the detail of service departments are given. And further, it is given in the question also that the service department are providing services only to the production department. No information is given in the question as regards that the service department are providing services to each other. So there are four service department, that is stores, timekeeping and accounts, power and canteen. Further, some information is given, that is the horsepower of machine of department A, B and C, number of workers plus the value of stores requisition. Prepare a statement apportioning the cost of service department over the production department using direct redistribution method. इधर क्वेश्चन में क्लियरली बोल दिया कि you have to use direct redistribution method. अगर नहीं भी बोला होता तो only this method applies in this question. So guys, let's start with illustration number 1. So the first one is stores. When talking about the next column, it will be basis. Basis of distribution. The next column will be the total amount. Further, the overheads that are already distributed, that is we call as the primary distribution, are given below, are given in the question. So it is given that 30 lakh, 26 lakh and 24 lakh. That is cost after primary redistribution. Cost after primary that is 30 lakh, 26 lakh and 24 lakh. The total is 80 lakh. $30 lakh. $26 lakh and 24 lakh. When talking about what is primary redistribution, the cost after, when talking about what is primary distribution, that is allocation, and apportionment. So these are the overheads that are specifically, or these are the overheads that are apportioned to the production department. Now let's proceed further with the reapportionment of overheads of the service department. So the first service department is stores. Now herein in this question, when talking about stores, stores are more or less related to value of stores requisition. So in this case, what should be the basis of distribution of overheads of stores department? Very simple, value of stores requisition. The overheads of the stores department will be distributed on the basis of value of stores acquisition. And in this question, the value of stores acquisition is 2,50,000, 1,50,000, and 1 lakh. So the ratio will be 5:3:2. That is divided by 50,000. So the ratio will be 5:3:2. So the total overheads that are given are 4 lakh. So this will be 2 lakh, 1,20,000, and 80,000. Second point, that is timekeeping and accounts. Again, timekeeping and accounts. Timekeeping means what? Timekeeping of the workers. So when talking about timekeeping and accounts, it will be distributed to the production department on the basis of number of workers. Further, when talking about the number of workers, it is given in the question that 20:15:15 is the ratio. The total cost is 3 lakh. So this will be 1,20,000, 90,000, and 90,000. Thereafter, the next cost is power cost. Thereafter, the next cost is power cost. Further, in this question, the information is given as regards horsepower of machinery. So this is the only basis of distribution available. So horsepower. Further, the horsepower of machine is in the ratio of 3:3:2. And the total cost is given, that is 1,60,000. So this 1,60,000 will be distributed in the ratio of 3:2, 3:2. So this will be 60,000, 60,000, and 40,000. Thereafter, the next service department is canteen department, and the total cost is and the total cost is 1 lakh. Now guys, these canteen services are used by the workers. So this is the best basis for apportionment. Sorry, this is the best basis for reapportionment. Else there is no other option that is given in the question. So we will distribute the overheads of the canteen department to the production department on the basis of number of workers, because these canteen services are availed by the workers who are working in the factory. So these canteen overheads of the canteen department will be apportioned on the basis of number of workers. So herein, when talking about the number of workers, it is given that the number of workers are 20, 15 and 15. So this will be distributed in the ratio of 20:15:15. So this will be 40,000, 40,000 and 30,000. Now herein, we'll write down the total also of all these three production departments. This will be 34,20,000. This will be 29 lakh. It will be 26,40,000. So this is all what about direct redistribution method. If you guys have any query, you guys can ask me. Waiting for your queries, guys. Very good, Jyoti. Muhammad Abid Vora, this is page number. This is page number 4.17, illustration number 1. So this is this is all what about this question, that is illustration number 1. It covers direct redistribution method wherein the service department are providing services only to the production department. That's it. So whatever the queries you have, you guys can please post your queries. Waiting for your queries, guys. Thank you so much, Manisha Ben. Priyanka, please check your answer, my dear. Jyoti Jab, your answers are correct. Very good, Alok. Priyanka, please check your answer, my dear. Now, guys, this is the first method wherein the production service department provides services only to the production department, wherein we discuss direct redistribution method. Now, guys, let's proceed further. What if in case if service department are providing services to the other service department? What if in case if the service department provides services to the other service department? Herein we'll be discussing first the non-reciprocal method. Step ladder method. I repeat again, guys. What if in case if the service department provides services to the other service department but on non-reciprocal basis? In that case, the distribution can be done using step ladder method. Yes, I'll be discussing, Uday, a full-fledged question on allocation, apportionment and reapportionment. Don't worry, dear. Yes, Dhyanesh, I'll be discussing a question for apportionment and reapportionment. Don't worry. Once everything is covered, that is all the methods. Once everything is covered, that is reciprocal, non-reciprocal, I'll be discussing a full-fledged question on the primary distribution as well as secondary distribution. In fact, in repetitive distribution method only, I'll be discussing this concept. That is, a single question covers primary as well as secondary. Don't worry, my dear. Very good, Priyanka. Very good, Sunil Kumar. So, guys, now what is step ladder method? Before starting with this step ladder method, I take a quick recap of what is non-reciprocal method, wherein service department are providing services to the other service department, but on non-reciprocal basis. That is, X is providing services to Y, but Y is not providing services back to X. So now the point is, what is step ladder method? So guys, let's take a very basic situation. Let's say I have 3 production department A, B, and C, and 2 service department X and Y. I have 3 production department A, B, and C, and 2 service department X and Y. Now, herein, the information is given as regards ki service department kya percentage pe service provide karta hai production department. So let's say, when talking about X, the overheads of X department are to be apportioned to production department A at the rate of 20%. It means 20% of the overheads are to be apportioned to production department A, 30% to production department B, 25% to production department C, and 25% to be distributed to production to service department Y. I repeat again, guys. It is given in the question that X service department provides services to the 3 production department, and apart from these 3 production department, it provides services to the service department also, that is Y. When talking about Y, the overheads of the service department are to be distributed to the production department. Herein the distribution ratio is given, that is 30%, 30%, and 40%. No services are provided to X. Y is not providing services to X, but X is providing services to Y. So this is non-reciprocal approach. Herein we will be using step ladder method. Now, what is step ladder method? It says वो सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट जो दूसरे सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट को सबसे ज्यादा सर्विस प्रोवाइड करता है will be distributed first. The service department which is providing maximum number of services to the other service department will be distributed first. So in that case, very simple, guys. In this question also, who is providing services to the maximum services to the other service department? Here in this case, X is providing services to the other service department. Y is not providing services to the other service department. So it means what? It says the step ladder method says the service department who is providing maximum number of services to the other production department will be distributed first. So in this case, X will be distributed first. And thereafter Y. So वो सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट जो दूसरे सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट को सबसे ज्यादा सर्विस प्रोवाइड करता है will be distributed first. So when talking about the order of distribution in the step ladder method, you have to first figure out what should be the order of distribution. What should be the order of redistribution? When talking about the order of redistribution, X, the overheads of X department will be distributed first because X is providing services to A, B, C, and Y. And in the second case, thereafter, we will distribute the overheads of Y department because Y department is providing services only to the production department. They are not providing services to the service department. So, first distribution kiska hoga X and second distribution kiska hoga Y. I repeat again, the service department which provide maximum number of services to the other service department will be distributed first. So in this case, X के overheads पहले distribute होंगे, फिर Y के overheads distribute होंगे. If you guys have any doubts, you guys can please ask me. I request you guys to please copy this explanation. The overheads, the service department which provide maximum number of services to the other service department will be distributed first. So herein X is providing services to Y. So the overheads of X will be distributed first, and thereafter the overheads of Y will be distributed. If you guys have any queries in this part, you guys can please ask me. In step ladder method or in non-reciprocal approach, we have to first find out the order of distribution. When talking about order of distribution, देखिए रीअपॉर्शनमेंट में हम लोगों को ओवरहेड्स जो है डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किसके करने हैं, सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट के ही करने हैं, प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट में कुछ भी नहीं करना है. सो किस सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट के पहले डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होंगे, दैट इज द पॉइंट. सो इन स्टेप लेडर मेथड वी हैव टू फर्स्ट फिगर आउट कि किस ऑर्डर में डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होगा. सो फर्स्ट इन दिस केस द ओवरहेड्स ऑफ एक्स डिपार्टमेंट विल बी अपॉर्शन्ड एंड देयरआफ्टर द वाई डिपार्टमेंट ओवरहेड्स विल बी अपॉर्शन्ड. सो वेटिंग फॉर योर क्वेरीज गाइस. Any doubts, any queries? Let's take one more situation. Let's take one more situation wherein I have three production department A, B, and C, and three service department X, Y, and Z. Now, information is given in the question as regards X. 20% services are provided to A, 30% providing services are provided to B, 10% services are provided to C, 25% to Y, and 15% to Z. 15% to Z. So this should be the basis of apportionment of X. When talking about Y, 10% to A, 40% to B, 30% to C. Further, Y is providing services only to the Z service department, that is 20%. This is the information that is given in the question. I repeat again, when talking about Y, Y is providing services to the three production department and Z. And when talking about Z, Z is providing services to the three production department only, that is 30%, 30%, and 40%. Z is not providing services to any of the service department. So in this case also, step ladder method will apply. Now we have to identify the order of distribution. What should be the sequence of distribution? As I said, that वो service department जो maximum number of services provide कर रहा है to other service department will be distributed first. So in this case, when talking about the order of distribution, see, X is providing services to Y and Z. X is providing services to Y and Z. So first, X will be distributed. Thereafter, in the second case, when talking about Z, Z is not providing services, so it will be distributed last. When talking about Y, Y is not providing services back to X. अगर Y X को provide करता, तो वो क्या हो जाता? Reciprocal हो जाता. So herein Y is not providing services to X. So this is not the reciprocal case. This is the non-reciprocal case. So herein Y is providing services to Z. So better to distribute the overheads of Y in the second stage. And third point, Z is not providing services to any of the service department. So at last, the overheads of Z department should be distributed. So herein, सबसे ज़्यादा services दूसरे service department को कौन provide कर रहा है? First is X, second is Y, and the third is Z, wherein Z is providing services only to the production department. So this should be the order of distribution. First, the overhead of X will be distributed. Second, the overheads of Y will be distributed. Third, the overheads of Z will be distributed. If you guys have any doubts in this order, you guys can ask me. Very good. Perfect, Priyanka. Perfect, Kushi. Very good, Priyanka. Dhyanesh, very good. Alok, very good. I request you guys to please copy this explanation. Now I'll be putting a question in front of you and you guys have to tell me what should be the order. Now, let's take a situation wherein X is providing services 30% to A, 40% to B, and 30% to C. Y is providing services 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%, and 20%. And when talking about Z, Z is providing services as follows: 30%, 30%, 30%, and 10%. So now guys, in this question, what will be the order of distribution? Waiting for your answers. Is the time to pay back, guys? What will be the answer? Waiting for your answers. You have to just mention that what should be the order of distribution. What will be the order of distribution? Waiting for your answers. Okay, so Dhyanesh was first one to answer. His answer is yes, Dhyanesh, your answer is correct. Again, I got answer from Jyoti. Yes, answer is correct. Abdul, your answer is correct. Shivani, correct answer. Mr. Prarsarthi, yes, your answer is correct. Jyotija, correct answer. Uday, answer is correct. Miss Manisha Bain, your answer is correct. Dhyanesh Ingle, yes, it is a reciprocal method. Harshu, your answer is correct. Yes, it is not A, it is X. Miss Harshu. Vinayak, very good, your answer is correct. Sunil Kumar, Mr. Bunty Kumar, yes. Bunty Kumar, your answer is incorrect. Mr. Bunty Kumar, your answer is incorrect. Vimal Kumar, correct answer. Harshu, correct answer. Mr. Mohammed bin Bora, your answer is correct. Alok, correct answer. Very good, guys. Priyanka, correct answer. Khushi, Miss Khushi, yes. Correct answer. Very good. Pranav Vashist, yes. Correct answer. Uday, correct answer. Jash, correct answer. Dilip Rathod, correct answer. Reenu Kumari Singh, correct answer. Pranav Vashist, correct answer. Yes. So herein, when talking about the order of distribution, very simple, guys. Who is providing maximum number of services to the other service department? Very simple. Y. Because Y is providing services to X and Z. Y is providing services to X and Z. When talking about the second stage, X is providing services to no one. So X will be at last. When talking about Z, Z is providing services only to X. So the second one will be Z and the third one will be X. So this will be the order of distribution: Y, Z, and X. Very good, Harsh Kumar. Very good, Bunty Kumar. Now your answer is correct. So in this step ladder method, you have to first find out that what should be the order of distribution. Order क्या होगा? पहले कौन सा distribute होगा? Second कौन सा distribute होगा? Third कौन सा distribute होगा? Then we have to approach for the distribution part. So guys, it's already 9:34. I wish I could extend, but again, I have to wind up the class. So I hope you guys are now thorough with what I have discussed till now. That is, what is overheads, That is, all the indirect costs are known as overheads. The overheads are incurred at 3 stages, that is factory, office, and selling and distribution. Apart from this, we have discussed what is allocation, what is apportionment. When the overheads are incurred separately and can be distributed directly, it is allocation. When talking about apportionment, when the overheads are incurred as a whole and they are not incurred separately, then we have to identify the base, and on the basis of that base, we distribute the overhead. That is called as apportionment. Thereafter, once the overheads are allocated or apportioned, the overheads of the service department need to be reapportioned to the production department. Of this, we have discussed the first method, that is direct redistribution method, wherein the service department provides services only to the production department. Thereafter, we started with the non-reciprocal approach, wherein we have discussed the step-ladder method. I'll be discussing the practical question on step-ladder method in the next session. So I request you guys to please revise what I have discussed in this class. Plus, as I said in the earlier sessions also, try to focus more on concepts rather than formulas. Further, if the time permits, in the next session or after the next session, I'll be discussing illustration number 8 and one more practical question of material costing. So don't worry, have some patience. And in the meanwhile, just enjoy and relax. Take care. See you soon in the next session with overheads. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Sir, I'm done.